I'm still on the MPC 62.
Okay, wait. Listen, he still uses the MPC 62. Yep.
What's up? You got your boy Dyreck, aka Native Shades, reminding you to like and subscribe. Cause today we're gonna be talking about the MPC 62. What had happened was the MPC 62. So the year is 1991. Africa. Everything in hip hop is African culture right now. It's influenced by African culture. You got everyone wearing the Africa sweaters. You got Tribe Called Quest going hard with it. De La Soul going hard with it. You know, even Michael Jackson, the king of pop himself, Michael Jackson, put out his Dangerous album with tracks like Remember the Time and Black or White. You know what I'm saying? Hip hop was controlled by African consciousness. But not everybody. You did have groups like Cypress Hill coming out with Left Hand on a 40, Smoking on a Blunt, Pump My Shotgun, them ain't jump. La 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 la. So you did have some gangster rap still slide themselves in there. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, hip hop was really Africa dominated. And Akai was going through some issues. Now, it was good issues to have. 3 years earlier, they dropped the MPC 60, Roger Lynn's masterpiece device. You had 99 tracks, 99 sequences, 99 patterns. Even till this day, people regard the MPC 60 sequencer as like probably the greatest sequencer of all time. So this Groovebox was a masterpiece. And just like any other business, you got to come up with a new product. It's like high school. You survived freshman Friday, but now let's see if you can make the JV team. Or like even in music, was Nas's second album just as good as his first? I think so. Well, the MPC 60 was Akai's Illmatic. And now they had to come out with the sophomore edition. And they came out with the MPC 62. Now, Roger Lynn himself said that he didn't understand why they made the MPC 62. The MPC 60 was already the perfect machine. You guys didn't have to make another one. But something that he probably didn't quite understand at the time was the mindset of the Japanese culture, especially in the late 80s or early 90s. Japanese culture was very different from American culture. In American culture, you know, they were still doing the thing where, you know, you work your job for 30, 40 years, you're a good employee, you retire, you get your pension, and the company will even give you a watch for your efforts, a nice shiny gold watch. Japanese culture was very different. They really focus on perfection as far as dealing with their products. And you had to produce. You had to constantly produce. And in actuality, if you got old, they were looking at you that you probably wouldn't be able to produce as much as a younger person would. And they would look to kind of get rid of you in the company. They would politely ask you to resign. And I'm being polite by using the words politely. You know what I'm saying? So you always had to be on top of your game, even if you was an older employee. And 3 years passed by. Listen, we got to bring out a new product. I don't care if this thing's the perfect machine. We got to bring out another perfect machine. We need to keep the lights on in here. And that's when they brought out the MPC 62. Now, the 62 didn't differ much from the 60. You know, in reality, I think when it came out, it had an upgraded OS, but you could upgrade the OS. You could use the OS on your 60. So it's pretty much the same thing. But 3 interesting qualities was different. Number one is, instead of the metal casing, they gave it a plastic casing. instead of the adjustable screen, they gave it a fixed screen. And they threw in what was probably the most significant addition on any piece of hardware. And that was, yes, you guessed it, the infamous headphone jack in the front. Now I know what you're saying. You're probably thinking, okay, big deal. They put a headphone jack in the front. Who cares? No, YouTuber. This is a very, very, very big deal. It's kind of like, remember when you first, when you got your cell phone and you first used the wired earpiece? After you use a wired earpiece, it's hard to go back to not using the earpiece. It's hard to go back to holding that phone in your hand and talking on it. It's like when you take the bus, when you're used to taking the bus and then all of a sudden you get your driver's license. After a while, you look at that bus stop and you're like, nah, I can't do that again unless it's absolutely necessary. Or even better yet, I don't know if y'all remember, but there was a time in the 80s and, early to mid 90s where a family, yes, a family, would gather on, let's say, a Sunday evening and sit together in their living room. And every now and then, a brave soul would nervously get up from their seat and take a walk to the television, turn the knob, and change the channel. Yes, this was a time that they would actually go to the television set and change the channel until they invented remote controls. After remote controls, people did not walk to the TV anymore. People don't even know where the channel buttons are on their television. I mean, think about your TV. Do you know where the channel button is? You got some flat screens out here. People's like, hey, man, your remote control might be under the chair or something. People's like, hey, bro, you know where the remote is? Nah, man. All right, just go to television, just change the channel manually. You're like, oh, okay, you're in front of the TV. This is your TV. And you don't know where the hell the channel buttons are. You're like touching your hand all over the screen. Like, is it here? Is it on the top? Is it on the side? Oh, they got it on the back to the left. Why would they put it there? But that's how much of a big difference putting a headphone jack, especially on the front of the unit, makes it for the producer. And believe it or not, a lot of producers switched to the MPC 62. You had guys like DJ Premier, who was making Daily Operation with Gangstar, who later switched to the MPC 62 and made bangers like Mass Appeal, Come Clean, and everything like that. You had the legendary Battle Cat, who was working with Domino. Here we go, something, 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 something with the Mac Pack back from Bang. I don't know the lyrics, man, but you know the song. He switched to the MPC 62. You had guys like DJ Quick, who said if you knew better, you got the MPC 62. Now that was very big. You know what I'm saying? If a producer's telling you if you knew better, you would get this machine. You even had guys like Just Blaze, who later on switched up to the MPC 62. Matter of fact, the one he got was used to create Slick Rick's second whole album. So this was a very important piece of gear when it came out at the time. One of the reasons that it was so attractive at the time was because of the price. You gotta remember, the original MPC 60, when it came out, it was $5,000. Remember in Scarface, when the guy goes, "Dígame, you go and you make this sale, and you're going to make $5,000." Remember how big that sounded back then in the movie? Well, Tony Montana, after he made that sale, he could have brought an MPC 60. But that's how much money the MPC 60 cost. The MPC 62, when it came out, it was $1,800. So that's a huge difference. And the guys that knew better was able to dupe the electronics stores. Like, how early eBay, a lot of people was duping them and buying all this legendary gear for cheap, like ASR 10s and MPC 3000s. They were buying for like $400, $300 in early eBay. The same thing was going on back then with the MPC 62. There would be a guy that'll own a shop, and the cashier behind the register would be like, hey boss, we got a guy and he's returning the MPC 60. And the boss would be like, what do you mean he's returning the MPC 60? Yeah, that goes for it's $5,000. We marked ours down to $4,500 since it's been here for 3 years. But what do you mean he's trying to return it? Yeah, he wants to return it. You know what? This guy's a real a-hole. If he wants to return it, we're just gonna give him $4,000. Wow, you think we could do? Yeah, we can do that. This is my store. So he'll go to the guy and he'll be like, yeah, you want to return this, huh? Okay, you can return it. You're only gonna get $4,000. Guy'll be like, damn, really, man? I paid $5,000 for this. Yeah, that was 3 years ago. Yesterday's price is not today's price. So the guy'd be like, okay, all right, fine, I'll take the $4,000. All right, yeah, thanks. Here's your cash. Have a nice day, sucker. And he'll walk out the store. You know what I'm saying? But not knowing that the guy that got his money back is the one that really came off with the real deal, because the MPC 62 is basically the same unit and it's marked down to $1,800. So the guy actually never took a loss. He actually made a $2,200 profit. You know what I'm saying? So now he can go and buy an S950 along with his MPC 62, or buy another piece of gear he really wanted, So this was something that a lot of producers back then that knew better was doing, because a lot of the stores was not up on the fact that the new item is the same thing as the old item. It's just marked down for the most part. And they just put a couple of features like the headphone jack, the new chassis, and the screen. So yeah, man, that's the MPC 62. So this is your boy Dyreck, aka Native Shades, reminding you to go down low in the description and get that MPC 1 Hidden Strategies, where I'm giving you a free MPC 4000 sound library. It doesn't exist anymore. Over a gig of sounds. You know what I'm saying? Put that joint on your MPC 1 and you are good. So this is your boy Dyreck, aka Native Shades, reminding you to like and subscribe. And I'm signing off.